Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dan Gazaway, your mental performance coach. Last video I talked about belief as it related to two runners who just broke the 2-hour marathon barrier. I also talked about the Roger Bannister story, the athlete who ran the first sub 4-minute mile in history when everybody thought it was physically impossible to do. And what happened weeks after he broke that barrier? Many athletes followed suit, and now 2,300 male athletes have done the same. And why? Because other athletes' belief changed as to what was possible. Then their performance followed. So today I'm going to share a similar message about belief, but I'm going to share a personal story of somebody who helped me believe in myself and my abilities. And he wasn't a coach, as some of you may be thinking right now. But here's the story and a little background story that leads into it. So I started kindergarten when I was 4 years old, not because I was smart, it was because both of my parents were working at the time and couldn't afford a sitter. And our elementary school principal was my neighbor, so he allowed me to start school early. Now, there are some pros and cons about starting school at 4 years old, and I think one of the most difficult trials is a year is a big difference at that age. I remember really struggling with reading, really struggling with math especially. And I was actually in a few special classes for those two subjects until 5th grade. I believe they used to call those classes resource. I'm not sure what they call them now, but when I started junior high school, I just knew I wasn't any good at math, right? So I started with a general math, the most basic, with a teacher by the name of Alan Wofford. I'll never forget him. He's an outstanding teacher. And I remember really struggling in his class that year. And one day I was sitting in the back of the class and I started to cry. I got a little emotional because I just couldn't grasp any of the concepts being taught. So he saw that I was frustrated. He came to my desk and we talked for a few minutes. And he finally said, "Hey, Danny, you don't belong in this class." And I thought, well, I know, I don't get it. He said, "Next year, what I want you to do is skip pre-algebra and take my algebra class." This actually took me by surprise. I was shocked and honestly a bit scared. But he said, "Danny, you are too smart to be in this class. If you take algebra next year, I'm going to help you. You're going to do just fine." So I took him up on it, and to my surprise, that year, my 8th grade year, I got all A's every term, and the following year I took his Algebra 2 class and I did just as well. I ended up completing all of my math requirements in junior high for the rest of my high school career, and it was awesome. But what Mr. Wofford did for me that day in class was instill a belief in me that I was smarter than I thought I was. He believed in me before I did. That helped me with how I began to speak and think about my abilities, not just in math, but that bled into other areas of my life. I started talking belief into myself about what was possible in sports, other subjects, relationships, you name it. It triggered my belief button, right? So why am I sharing this with you today? Because every one of you listening right now, I believe, is in one of two positions. You either need someone to believe in you, or you have the opportunity to be that person for somebody else. So first I want to ask you this: who is or was your Mr. Wofford? Right? Who are you becoming that person for right now? I think those are two important questions. I want you to think about your teammates. Who on your team is struggling right now? Somebody needs your encouragement that you can give, and that one moment that you can instill belief into them. Maybe it's just a simple sentence that will catapult them into the next level of belief, of their belief, right? One conversation can change someone's entire trajectory, what they think about themselves, what they believe about themselves. So just like it did for me. So my invitation for you today is to look for opportunities that encourage instead of criticize. Look for opportunities to lift your teammates up instead of judging them. Start believing in them. That's true leadership. And coaches, belief is everything. You know that on your team. How often are your athletes hearing what they're doing wrong compared to what they're capable of becoming? Do your athletes feel belief from you or just expectation? Because I think great coaches, they aren't the ones that just teach skills, although that's important too. Great coaches build belief in their players, and that belief changes effort. It changes their confidence and how the team responds under pressure. So here's the challenge for all of you. First of all, I'm going to speak to the athletes. Speak belief into yourself every single day. The teammates out there, give the gift of belief to somebody who needs it. And you coaches, the goal is to create an environment where belief can actually grow. So here's my final invitation to you. If you're ready to build that kind of belief, I'd love to work with you. Visit dangazaway.com to get started, and let's train your mindset and unlock what you're truly capable of becoming.